Hey, this is WWE and ECW alumni, the Blue Meanie, and you're listening to PCW.
The question is, are you ready? Let me talk to you. I will give you a show like you have never, ever seen before. Why? Because I can.
What do you guys want to talk about?
And the color red in a world full of black and white. I am the eater of worlds. Yeah, if you're some man, acknowledge me. The champ is here. But to be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here. Hey, yo. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of PCW Podcast Championship Wrestling. I am your host, Wayne, also known as Semi-Dry Chicken, and it is time for... Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Oh, money, money, money. I like that version. It's a 2018 version. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Money in the Bank. I have actually a bunch of stuff to cover before that because actually a lot of shit happened between then and now. Basically, episode 83 and episode 84. That's what we're on. But you know what? I couldn't do this alone. I could, but it'd be awful. It'd be god-awful. But thank God we can do a two-man commentary booth tonight. Here we go. Here he is.
Uso! Hey, hey, main event Jay Uso is now in your city! It's just me, okay? Day one, it's just me, Day one, it's just me, okay? Day one, it's Jay. A lot of more love and knock them down like this. I did. Hey, it's on me now, Hey, I'ma get them all. I'ma get them all, Yeah. I'ma get them. I'ma get them.
Dre, welcome back.
Yo, what it do, PCW crew? Main event Dre Uso is back again on your podcast.
Man, hey, thanks for being my tag team partner tonight. It's been just difficult the past few weeks to get together because I've just been busy. And, to get all of us together, it's kind of, sometimes it can be difficult. We have those weeks where it's just like we just can't find the day. So we're gonna wing it with just the two of us. We couldn't even get a tag in from like Carlos. He's been busy, I guess. Doyle's busy, but
summertime's the busy time for everybody.
Yeah, man, you're telling me. But we are getting the, let's say the equivalent of the speed title version of Doyle's Money in the Bank predictions. So at some point during the show, I will play the dip. I will dip out. We will go to intermission. And instead of playing the normal Nacho Libre type intermission that I normally play, I know you love that, Dwayne. We are just going to play Doyle's predictions. I've already pre-listened to it. It will not affect my choices thus far. I will say that me and Doyle are a little different on our picks, which I kind of like. But I would like to cover before we get into the PLE. Let's let's talk about like what we missed between. Last time we were here, we were talking Backlash, right? Dre, did you get a chance to catch? I know we're going back a bit here. We're going back to May 25th. NXT Battleground in Tampa.
Ah, man. I want to say I did, but I would have to remind myself of what the card was.
Right.
I feel like I did watch that, 'cause I feel like we talked about that in the Discord.
Yeah, I mean it was good. I mean, like
It was, matter of fact, yep. Now it's hitting me out because it was the same day as Saturday Night Main Event, wasn't it?
Yes, this was in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah. Which you
Right.
know what?
Yep. And I remember us all talking about how NXT Battleground was better than Saturday Night Main Event. Yes.
Yeah. For me, a lot of these people, it's my first time seeing their matches. This is the first Sol Ruka match I've seen, believe it or not. And holy crap, man!
Oh yeah,
that match for an opening match for the NXT Women's North American title, that match cooked.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I saw this new move. By the way, brilliant name for the move, Soul Snatcher. You know.
One of the best finishers in the game right now, especially
dude,
arguably the best finisher from any women's wrestler right now.
Any. It's like honestly, I don't think I've seen anything like it, and it's very hard to like imitate if somebody else is gonna try to pull that off because I've watched it multiple times. I was like, damn, how do you do that? To me, it's. Did you ever like the feeling you got when you first saw your first shooting star press? You know, you're like, oh, wow, that's neat, and you watch it a couple times, like, man, that is neat. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, watch Sol Ruka do the Soul Snatcher.
Yeah, and she's really like gotten better at that move since she first started using it. Like she's finding more creative ways to pull it off.
Right.
Because when she first was doing it, she kind of relied on the ropes to get it. Now she can seemingly pull it off from the turnbuckle, and she's pulling it off from other, counters and stuff, and whipping it and making it happen.
Yep.
Yeah, she can tell she's mastering her craft and making that into a move that she can pull out of nowhere, and that just makes it even more dynamic.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I just got a message from Carlos. Sure, buddy. Join whenever. Sure, buddy. Live during the show.
Right.
That's business. Yeah. Also, the Stephanie and the Jordynne Grace match for the NXT Women's title. Great match.
Fire. Yeah.
Yeah, fire.
That match alone was better than the entire Saturday Night Main Event.
Yeah.
Like those two went at it.
The NXT title, Oba and Miles. Damn, dude, that Oba guy's a big sumbitch. Loving his momentum. And you know what? Like the biggest match, besides like the opening match, like the basic exciting match for me, Trick Williams versus Joe Hendry, the TNA World Title, and this is the first time we're getting the TNA title on the line underneath a WWE umbrella. Let's say when we started this podcast, we'll say episode 1, Dre, and I go to you, hey, in a couple years, you're gonna see Shawn Michaels holding the TNA title in a WWE ring. And you're gonna be like, no, I don't believe it. I was like, yeah, oh, dude, yeah.
No, because we wouldn't have believed that WWE would give a shit enough about TNA to want to have anything to do with them.
And honestly, like, I've always had like let's say an ear to the ground when it comes to TNA, because a lot of our WWE wrestlers, when they leave, the options are right there. It's either TNA or AEW. And sometimes they grow there. And
TNA, it does have a rich history.
It does.
A lot of great superstars have come from TNA. or
Yeah.
made their name, or made their
It's
stardom
like-
in TNA. AJ Styles, R-Truth.
Yeah. Now, I wonder, though, like, how long does AEW have to be around for us to give the respect that we give TNA now? Because, like, TNA, we've never looked at them as a rival company, right? We never thought they would get big enough. I thought we're talking, like, since we're, like, teenagers, right? Like, that's how long TNA's been around. And there's multiple times where I'm like, dude, TNA's going to fold any minute now. Like, I've always thought that with the different ownership and stuff. And
they got close.
They proved us wrong because they're still going. And now we're gone far enough that, like, they look at them as like a valuable company to do business with. So I think that's awesome. I see at this point they might just get bought by WWE at some point.
They could. That's still on the table. I think right now, not I don't know right now, but there could be a point where if they don't flat out buy them, they could buy controlling interest, like what they've done with AAA.
I mean, like,
but as far as what's it going to take for AEW to reach the level of respect that we put on, like, I guess, a team, which I don't know. I mean, one could argue that AEW does have more respect than TNA right now, given that AEW is the second biggest wrestling promotion in North America.
Yeah.
So you could argue that they do currently have more respect, but I think for them to be seen, I guess, the more accurate question I would say would be for them to be seen with the same level of respect and reverence that we have for WCW and ECW. Promotions like that, for AEW to reach that point, especially with WCW, I think they're going to need that second generation of stars. Because it feels like AEW's been around for what, 5 years now? 5-6 years?
Yeah, 5 or 6 years.
Or 7 maybe. They're still kind of riding on their first wave, their first generation of stars. They do still have some younger talent that's coming in there and stuff, but a lot of it is still that first gen of initial stars. Some of them are still hanging on, some are still going in their prime, and that first wave of WWE stars that left the E and went to them. I think when they get to that second generation or third generation, then, at least for me, I'll look at them in a different light. Because now they'll have genuine history and legacy in place, like what WCW had. You look at WCW, what it was when it was, when it was with NWA in the 80s.
Right.
And they had that first generation of stars, the Magnum TAs, the original Four Horsemen, and a very young Sting and Dusty Rhodes and guys like that in the early WCW days. And then you get to that second generation in the 90s, when you get to other stars like, your Lugers, when Hogan and them come in, you get your NWO, your next generation stars like your Ravens, your Goldbergs, Kidmans, Rey Mysterio and Eddie and guys like that come in. That's like that second generation, that second wave, and that may be even their third generation, depending on how you want to look at it. But it's that I think AEW is going to have to. They're going to have that in their history. At least for me, to look at them the same way I look at like a WCW, as far as that level of respect and credibility.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm just very happy with the business that we're doing with TNA, and I just hope it grows. And I thought about it, like, how many times did we just as fans? I'm not talking about us on the podcast, but like as fans. Worldwide discussed how one of the biggest flops when we gained WCW and ECW was the invasion angle. I mean, they did the best of what they could, but like if we're gonna get to it after I'm done here. but we've lost a bunch of WWE superstars. A lot of those guys might get picked up at TNA. I just watched NXT recently, and I saw Elijah, who used to be Ezekiel.
Elias.
Elias.
And Ezekiel,
yes.
Yep.
Yes, he has so many fucking names. But he's works for TNA, but now here he is in the WWE ring of some sort of fashion. You get enough bodies over there, over on the other team. An invasion angle. They have a big enough roster that could be done right. I'm not saying they have to invade Raw and SmackDown, but them invading NXT or something of some sort of matter. But
even then, I'm still skeptical about whether it can be done right. The main thing that makes an invasion angle work is you have to have equal caliber of star on both sides.
Correct.
That's why the WCW ECW invasion angle failed.
Yep.
It was mostly because on the WCW side you didn't have the caliber of stars as WWE.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
The best you had of WCW was Booker T, who at that time was seen as a knockoff of The Rock. You didn't have Sting. You didn't have Lex Luger. Ric Flair was not an active wrestler and was old and not a factor. You didn't have the NWO. You didn't have Goldberg. You didn't have the best of WCW going up against the best of WWE. You pretty much had the B team.
Yep, but that's
and from ECW, their best, ECW's best was already in WWE when the invasion started. ECW didn't walk in invading with Rob Van Dam and the Dudleys. They were already part of WWE. So that's really what hurt that. So for
the star power
to try to pull off some sort of TNA invasion of NXT, when you're going after the invading the minor, I get that the partnership is mostly, even though it's WWE TNA, they're pretty much viewing TNA as the equivalent of NXT.
Correct.
They're not looking at anybody on TNA's roster as being on the level of WWE's main roster.
Right.
So that in and of itself is going to diminish any kind of invasion angle, because it's like you're scrapping among the minor leagues, to put it bluntly. So how much investment would you get out of that? And again, some of TNA's best is already in WWE or their former WWE talent. So how much of an invasion would it really be? TNA's best, Joe Hendry, has already shown up enough times in WWE. And he just lost his title to an NXT star.
Yeah.
And lost to Randy Orton.
Yeah,
the best women that TNA had was Jordan Grace.
Yep.
She's already in WWE now and about to be heading towards the main roster. So
yeah,
I don't know that could really work.
Their best we've already beaten. We have their fucking title.
Right.
Which, by the way,
we've either have or have already beaten your best.
Right. Which, by the way, if I was at a casino putting money down on Joe Hendry for the win, I would have, because God, I did not see them pulling that, letting Trick Williams take away that title. I was like, oh shit, that really just happened.
Yeah, that was a genuine surprise.
Right? For NXT, I loved it. Let's move on here. After that, there is the NXT PLE that's going to be in the morning, which I will miss, but I will catch later. It's going to be Worlds Collide. It's going to be in Inglewood, California. This one, it seems like there's a lot of Latino superstars, like the Latino World Order's on here. But which I did find weird, which I think is also cool. We do have, I can't pronounce his name. I got people yelling at me right now. I can hear it already. The champion for AAA's Mega Championship. He's
Oh,
going to be
El
versing
Hijo de Vikingo.
El Hijo. Yep, that's what I was going to say. He stole words right out of my mouth. Yes, but he's versing Chad Gable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hold on. Hold on a second. Aren't we getting, in Money in the Bank, are we not getting one El Grande Americano for the first match of the night, possibly? Now, they're both in
I called it.
Inglewood, California, at 2 different venues, though.
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take to get to the Kia Forum?
I think they're literally across the street from each other.
Are they? That's what I figured. Talk about working, if this is true, if it is one of the same person, this guy's working double duty.
Yeah, he ain't the only one working double duty because Stephanie Vaquer is working both shows as well.
Absolutely, yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna catch it. I'm gonna catch it when I can. It looks like it's gonna be a pretty good card. I'm pretty. I'll probably check in on the women's tag match and then that Chad Gable match, and then they have 2 6-man tag matches, so Fatal 4 with the NXT American. Yeah, so I'll definitely look into that.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna watch it because I think even if it may not know all the stars and everything, I think these matches are going to be top notch.
Oh, dude, all these luchadors, like hell yeah,
right?
Oh my god,
these matches are going to be phenomenal.
Yeah. Then finally,
it'll be a great opportunity. It'd be a great opportunity for WWE fans to see some real
luchador wrestling,
some real uncut luchador action. Not what we get at WWE, which is like they let them do a lot more than they used to, admittedly.
Right.
But I think in this show, I think they'll probably really let them cut loose, and I think we should be able to see some phenomenal work. At least I'm hoping for it.
Right. Yeah. Before we get into that, I'm just gonna talk about just briefly go over some news here, just since we've been gone. People who've gotten let go. There's people who got let go recently, and you know what? I know this breaks your heart, Dre. I couldn't believe it myself when I found out. I almost kind of like dropped to my knees, and I was like, "This is it. Wrestling's done." The fact that you let Sarah Logan go, I just, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. But yeah, it's awful. We lost Sarah Logan. Carlito.
And my heart shattered into 1,000 pieces.
Yeah, Carlito, and then biggest is R-Truth. Holy crap. They let R-Truth go. He got his moment. He got to wrestle his childhood hero. I mean, that was peak for him. We'll talk about that too. Saturday Night Main Event. Let's go over this brief news and we'll get into that. But, and the reason being, is basically just making room for new stars. You're going to get to that point now where, like, if you want more superstars, we're going to have to let go of the older dogs. And, these guys have been around for a while, and I'm pretty sure they're all going to be okay. Especially The Miz. I think The Miz is doing pretty well for himself. I think he's okay. Will these people?
Yeah, I mean, it
back?
hasn't been confirmed that Miz has been let go either. So
yeah, Miz.
Everybody's still rumored or only speculating just based upon the fact that he unfollowed WWE and took the stuff off his profile. But again, until it's actually announced, I'm gonna,
hold on to it. Like
take that. I'll take that with a grain of salt until.
Yeah, because I mean, R-Truth is rough because here's the thing: is like, yes, he was a very unique gimmick. He was dude, man's hilarious. Like, I went back and I watched, like, somebody posted like a clip of just a bunch of his hilarious shit over the years just put together. And the man's also, let's face it, the man's 53. He does not look 53, not even close. But the man is 53 years old. He wants to retire. It's like, dude, guy's got a pretty good career. Let him retire. I wonder if I can pull up all the, because he's held some titles, and he's also released some music since like 2015, all the way up to recently last year. He released some music. Let's see. He held the United States Championship twice, the Hardcore title twice, the Raw World Tag titles twice with Kofi and The Miz, the Bragging Rights Trophy from 2009 from Team SmackDown. Oh, yeah, okay, that's a Survivor Series thing. He won the Mixed... Oh, yeah, I do remember this. The Mixed Match Challenge Season 2 with Carmella. He's got 2 Slammy Awards. Best Musical Performance of 2008. The LOL Moment of 2015. Most Worked Match of the Year in 2006 in the Reverse Battle Royal on Impact. Wow. But most notably, his career, which nobody will ever get close to topping, is this man won the WWE 24/7 Championship 54 times. What the hell? I will say, like, that is something he will leave a mark on WWE that nobody else will be able to, John Cena's 17, never seen again, or never seen 17. Oh, dude, hold my beer. Fucking, this guy's won it, like, fucking 54 times. So yeah, the man's leaving a good, I mean, if he is truly retired from the ring, he's leaving a good, legacy behind. As far as Carlito and Sarah Logan, I mean, they've had decent careers in WWE, ups and downs. They've gotten fired before and brought back. I think they'll be all right. Dre, how do you feel when somebody's going to tell you, very similar to like how the Dudleys would tell you to get the tables, but this time when you get the tables, it has a Slim Jim fucking logo on it.
Okay, before we even get into all that, we're not just about to sit here and just gloss over R-Truth being let go like it was just some old guy that they cut loose from the company. Because this is a dude who, 17 plus years in the company, closer to 20 if you count, his in and out stints at the beginning before he had his, long tenured here. This isn't just, was he a main eventer? No. Was he, throughout his career, he mostly was mid card at best, low mid card, and just there for mostly comedy stuff. But it's clear from the reaction of everybody that this was a guy who was beloved by the locker room. He was beloved by the fans. He had put that time in, stayed with the company, accepted, his position where a lot of other wrestlers would probably not accept that and would have been like, I'm better than this. I'm capable of more. I want out. I want to yada yada. He didn't do that. He stuck around, did his job, did it well, entertained everybody for, 17 plus years. And then the fact that he's just let go like that, the reason why it hit everybody so hard is because everybody thought he was a lifer. Like stay in that position, to be that on, that relatively low on the totem pole per se, as far as, your hierarchy of stars from your main eventers to the low cards to just the comedy acts or whatever, to stay in that position that long and do it well and embrace it like that, that endeared him to everybody over his career. That's why everybody loved him so much, because he did his thing and did it well and embraced it without complaining or anything like that. That's why when he and Miz teamed back up and they got that title, it meant so much to everybody. Everybody cheered it so much. Seeing him finally get a win, to get a championship, being a title holder. The work he was doing, even as of last year or earlier this year, No, as it was last year with Judgment Day. Still top-notch work. You know, some people, would have loved to see him get a serious run. People like me would have loved to see him get a serious run, get a serious championship run, and just really show people what he can really do.
Right.
Even at the age of 54. But we appreciated what he was giving us anyway. And again, when we see guys stay committed to a company for that long, you would like to think that the company would appreciate that. But the fact that they just let him go, of all people, it showed that apparently it's not that. Especially when you find out that the reason is money, budgetary reasons, or whatever, or we need to make budget cuts. You feel like that's something that would have never happened with Vince. As much as I don't want to talk about him anymore, you feel like if Vince were still in charge of the company, R-Truth would still be there.
Right.
This felt like a TKO business, just a cold-hearted business decision. Like, just counting the beans, counting the numbers. Your numbers don't fit in our business plan. Bye. To hell with your 20 year, to hell with your 17 plus years in the company, to hell with everything you've done, to hell with the fact that, you know, your merch is still selling well, to hell with the fact that you're still getting pops from the audience despite being where you are on the card. To hell with all of that. Nah, the math don't math. Bye. I think that's why it angered some people so much. And then if the rumors are to be true, to be believed, which until I hear from Ron himself, I'm pretty much taking all speculation with a grain of salt. But if the speculation is true that they offered him a new deal at lesser pay, then good on him for turning that down.
Yeah, absolutely.
At some point, respect what I've done for you. Respect what I've brought to this company. Respect my time. Respect my commitment to you all. But instead, it's just like, I mean, you're just a comedy guy. You know, you're not worth all that. You know, you can stay with us, but you're gonna have to take a pay cut. No, it really just felt cold the way it was done, the way he was done. I think that's why it upset people so much. And that's why we got the "We Want Truth" chants on Raw this past week. I thought they would have been much more substantial. I think they could partially blame that a bit on maybe an Oklahoma City crowd. You know, they're not known as to be as rowdy and raucous as some other crowds.
Right.
You know, God forbid they'd have done this and Raw would have been in Chicago the next day. You know, they would have had hell to pay from a Chicago crowd. But yeah, and it's just another thing that has happened since TKO has taken over that just makes people feel like the WWE we knew and loved is gone and is now just going to be a purely numbers-driven corporate entity that's putting out a product for the sole purpose of generating as many dollars as possible and not to really entertain in the spirit of the professional wrestling that we knew.
Dude, I mean, it's so bad with the ads.
Which is on the
just shoehorn
which
right into
takes it to that the point you were bringing up about the fucking tables.
Mm-hmm. What the hell?
Like, why? Why does a table that's just going to be destroyed have to have a logo on it? Like y'all really just that sticky finger, y'all got to reach out there for every single dollar you could possibly make to like, we're going to slap a Slim Jim logo on a table. And now when somebody goes through it, we're going to have to listen to Michael Cole say, oh man, he just got snapped into the Slim Jim table, or some other stupid corny line. That's going to annoy the living fuck out of everybody.
That's so true. I swear to God, dude, if he says that, I'll give you a fucking $1. I swear to God, I'll send you $1. I will send you $1 and probably $1 every time he says that, because you're fucking right, dude. He will fucking say that.
Yeah. Because it's probably part of the deal that he has to say some little stupid saying every time this shit happens. Like I wouldn't be surprised if fans grow to hate tables because of those logos. If instead of cheering like we used to when like get the table and as soon as you get a table pull out, everybody's cheer. I would not be surprised if they pull a table out and that Slim Jim logo's on it and fans start booing.
Yeah, put the tables
because
back.
of that. Right, put it back.
Put it back. Like, no. Like,
right.
maybe we'll
put
boo
it back or fuck
I
those tables or something. Fans are going to rebel against this shit at some point.
I hope they fucking boo it when they pull that table out and they flip it over and you see that big logo, and I hope this.
Right, they pull that thing out and they see that logo. Exactly. They pull it out, fans get the cheer and they flip it over and see that Slim Jim logo and fans just immediately start booing.
Now, yesterday, I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm over at, my girlfriend's house, and her son, he's Caden. He's a lot younger, but he loves wrestling, and he has wrestling action figures. He has the ring, he has the chairs, he has the table, the announce table. And when I'm looking at this is just a toy, but there's no ads. There's no ads, but like, will that even change for the fucking toys one day? Probably not. But it reminded me of how pure. If there's one thing that I will admit that fucking Vince did right was make that ring pure, and he didn't have that advertisement as heavy. There was, yes, on the ring aprons there was advertisement, but this was not as bad as this. Now we're going in less than a year. We've gone to 1 logo, to 4 logos, to now like 6 or 7, and now we got the Prime Station. Now we got...
They're going the NASCAR route.
Dude, they're going dude. Absolutely. How long until Seth Rollins comes out with a jacket with all these patches on it,
Right. Or we get a freaking championship belt with some sponsor's logo on it.
Dude, yeah, there's a lot of AI ones going around of like McDonald's championship. Like, what the fuck? Or what are we doing, dude? This is crazy. This is what I can't believe. Like WWE has gotten to this point where like this whole and I don't understand. You guys so much sponsorship, more than you've ever had, and you're still doing Saudi deals, so you're making money there to the point where I'm gonna.
It's still cutting talent.
Yeah, and you're still
like they announced the Slim Jim deal right after cutting Truth, Carlito, and Sarah Logan.
Yeah, that's not cool. Like, they're even. I'll bring it up because even in my next thing in the news here, but they're looking in the future to somehow get WrestleMania to Saudi Arabia. We're gonna have a legit Saudi Mania. Why? The fucking money. The money. That's why they're doing it. It's the only reason why we're doing it. That's the only reason why we're still there. Is the money. And we talk. They talk about how much money they bring in every year, but yet, you're gonna leave. You're gonna let go of people like R-Truth, but yet there's certain superstars on that roster that I can't I'm not gonna name off the top of my head that probably should go. Can't believe they're still there. Maybe don't feed the fucking corporate mouth so hard. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
When, who knows? But I think, I think it's going to be, because we already know now, every time, anybody who's been to any live event, anytime they put anything Saudi up, fans boo the shit out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They boo the living shit out of anything Saudi. When they announced that whole WWE museum thing or whatever in Saudi Arabia, fans booed the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Anytime they announced the crown jewels or anything like that, fans boo it. Yep. Imagine, and you can, a lot of that stuff they do in between, like during commercial breaks. Mm-hmm. So that way it doesn't translate to the live, to the live show. I remember the last one they did some stuff when we were at WrestleMania that got booed heavily. They announced some Saudi stuff.
Yep.
And I remember when I was last time they were here in Norfolk, they announced I don't know if it was a crown jewel or something Saudi related, and it got booed heavy. Imagine if they whenever they do. I mean, I'm not even going to say if, but when, because it's going to happen at some point. Mm-hmm. But imagine when they finally announce WrestleMania yada yada is going to take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia or something.
Yeah.
That shit is going to get booed. That's just going to catch Dominic Mysterio type heat.
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely.
going to be something that they can't hide away from either. They can't bury that within the commercial break so that it doesn't make it on television. They're going to have to just be like, fuck it, and embrace it and accept it. But it's going to be extremely unpopular. Unless they make the announcement when they're already in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
Like they're already there for a crown jewel or whatever event. And then they announce, hey, WrestleMania is going to come here in such. Then they'll get a huge pop from that crowd because obviously hometown crowd.
Yeah.
But then they're still going to have to come back to the States and deal with the backlash on it. That's the only thing that makes me remotely apprehensive that they will ever do a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Just because the backlash is going to be so negative.
And we're not talking about the pay-per-view. Yeah, dude.
No.
I absolutely agree. I'm just so sick and tired of, like, WWE acting like they're super tight and super broke on money when you're purchasing, AAA wrestling. You're purchasing this and you guys are building that and you're hiring all these people and you're starting another show. Actually, you're starting 2 other shows. I don't know. I don't care. It sucks. Like I said, I hope these sponsorship fucking things die down a bit because I'm just so sick of it. I'm hoping that we can go back to the old days, at least a smaller form of it. But who knows? All right.
Until they start apparently until they start feeling it in their bottom line, nothing's going to change.
Yeah. The only other thing I don't really have anything else in news except for did you hear that Vince is trying to buy TKO? What the fuck?
No, he's not trying to buy TKO. There was speculation that Vince wanted to buy back WWE from TKO, and that's not going to happen because TKO has zero interest or zero reason to sell back to Vince. So
yeah, what the fuck?
that's a dumb story. That's a non-story.
Could you imagine, like, just the senile fucking moment he had where he told somebody that? I would ask him, I'll buy it back. They'll sell it to me. I'm not crazy. Like, you are, man. Regardless of what charges got dropped, you're still a fucking nut. I watched that documentary. We all did.
Yeah, we all did.
Did you catch all of Saturday Night Main Event?
Yeah.
I'll just briefly hear.
I watched it, and it was boring, and it sucked. Like we already said, NXT Battleground was better.
Yeah, and this had 6 matches, right? This had American Made, Brutus Creed, and Julius Creed defeated the Latino World Order. The tag match, I believe was that a dark match? It had to be a dark. Yeah. Sorry, it says 1D dark match. Then we had Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman defeated CM Punk and Sami Zayn, and we got the return of Bronson Reed. Now for me, I was thinking for a while Bronson Reed would be a good fit, but we all kind of were on the same page. It's like, man, that's kind of a lot of muscle for that group, right? I was thinking, yeah, well, maybe this is a reamped, better version of what he was trying to do with AOP at one point. Just him and these 2 big-ass sons of bitches who were going to protect him all the time. It's smart on his part, to have the guys that he picked. I mean, but yeah, so we haven't seen him since War Games. It's good to see him back. I was kind of concerned because I was like, oh man, like he's part of the Bloodline and War Games, like it's a big push for him. And he got injured, and I was a little concerned about where he was going to be going when he came back, but I'm glad it, slipped him right up there with that momentum. Pairing him with that group, holy crap! Like, that's going to be great for both of those guys. And then we got
I mean, I'm glad for him that he's being featured in a main event level spot, being paired up with Rollins and Breaker.
Yep.
I still just don't know how well he fits in with them. I still thought he was a much better fit in Bloodline 2.0, which is basically all but dead now because they're all injured. But seeing him standing side by side with Seth and Braun and Paul doesn't look as good as him when he was standing next to Solo and Jacob Fatu.
Right.
It just doesn't look. And when it was him with Solo and Jacob and Tama Tonga and them, that looked like the perfect fit. That looked like he was the missing element that they needed for Bloodline 2.0 to really take off and be the credible, dominant heel faction that Triple H wanted them to be. Him alongside Braun and Seth and Paul Heyman is like, okay. But I don't know. It just, I don't know. It don't fit right to me.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like a proper fit. It just feels like they put him there and then came up with the reason afterwards. Like, you know, oh, he did more damage to Seth Rollins in that one night than Punk or whoever's been able to do in X many years, or Roman's done in so many years. Yada. Okay, whatever.
I mean, like there's
whatever y'all want to tell us.
There's certain groups that I thought would work. There was a time with League of Nations. We had like Rusev, Wade Barrett, Sheamus, and who else was it? Was it Drew McIntyre? Sheamus or Cesaro? Somebody. There was another guy in the group. It was four of them. Oh, Alberto Del Rio, that guy. But I thought at the time, like, that had been a good, solid group of guys, and that flopped hard. But then when the Shield got together for the first time, you know, seeing these guys, how they were separated, not really a big thing together on NXT. So when they came to the main roster, I was honestly, before, you know, it took me a while, but I didn't think at first that these guys were going to work. And, you know, just like at one point, you know, I also believed in the Shield. And just like I believed in Joe Henry recently. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to let this play out. I mean, maybe even when I was younger, I even probably thought like Evolution at the time. Because, you know, I knew that Batista was Deacon Batista. And I don't know. I guess
difference is, though,
past gimmicks, I guess.
Yeah, the difference is between some of those, especially things like Shield, is these were people who were all debuting together, or guys who were, you know, collectively in a similar place, forming a faction, so they could all grow together. That's not the case here. You know, Paul Heyman's a Hall of Famer. Seth Rollins is a main eventer.
Right.
Braun Breaker is pretty much being seen as the next guy up, or the quote next big thing.
Right.
And then there's Bronson Reed. Like, in this group right now, he feels like the most square peg in a round hole possible.
Big ass hole. Yeah, you're right.
Granted, him and Braun Breaker coming out in the black tights in the black wrestling gear on Monday, it did look good. They kind of matched and was coordinated. It looked good, but I just don't. It still just doesn't feel like a proper fit. At least not him.
Yeah. He
does not feel like a proper fit in that faction. I mean, there's still, now granted, there are ways they can make it work if they want to. You know, I've thought about it. I figured if they can work as like a 2x2, but still be collectively unified, like, you know, Paul Heyman plays the mentorship type role to Braun Breaker, while Seth Rollins plays the mentorship type role to Bronson Reed, in the sense that, you always see, it'd be subtle, but like, you always see Paul Heyman talking in Braun Breaker's ear. You always see Seth talking in Bronson Reed's ear. But not like, but don't be, overt about it like, oh, there's defection in the faction or nothing like that. They're a solid unit. They're working together. But you just see little subtle nuanced things. And then over long-term storytelling over time, whenever it becomes time for the group to inevitably break, then these little things that you've seen over time start to actually play out. And then you end up, picking sides. Or, they end up actually splitting down that where Seth and Bronson are on one side, Paul and Braun are on the other side, or, even if they add another person in or what have you. There's ways to make it interesting, but as of right now, it just looks awkward with Bronson Reed there. But like you said, it's still in its infancy. It's still early, so we'll see how it plays out.
Nice. Also, on that card was Selena Vega defeating Chelsea Green for the United States title. We got John Cena defeated R-Truth for pinfall. I mean, it was a short match, but the hilariousness of the Ron Cena, I was dying. And I was like, how do I get my hands on a Ron Cena shirt?
You and everybody else, because apparently that shirt sold really well.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome.
So well that they let the motherfucker go.
Dude, what if... It's a little crazy. What if he comes back, but only as Ron Cena?
Not happening.
Yeah. I did see on a podcast with Bully Ray, and Mark Henry and stuff, they were talking about, wouldn't it be hilarious if R-Truth showed up in like TNA or AEW, but still thinking he was in WWE? Not, just keeping the gimmick, and then he says, my bad. I was like, yeah, that'd be funny in TNA. If he showed up to TNA thinking he was in WWE or something. And
yeah, no way in hell he would do that in AEW.
Yeah, AEW, I don't think so. TNA is more likely, and it would be fucking hilarious. Him just going through the whole day of catering and everything, just acting like.
I don't think he would do it if he were to go to AEW. I don't even think he would do something like that. I don't think he would disrespect WWE like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, match is what it was, but it was still pretty decent. It was only 4 minutes and 25 seconds. The next match on the card, the Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in Steel Cage. Now, I like Jesse the Body Ventura's opinion on this fucking thing. And I think it's true. Ever since I always believed in steel cage matches, you either had to climb up over the top and get both feet down on the other side, or you had to basically pin or submit your opponent in the ring, right? And then there was some point, at some time, we started allowing just opening the door and just walking out and putting both feet on the ground. And I just thought that was the dumbest
pretty much the moment
thing.
they got rid of the blue steel cage and put a cage with a door on it, people were allowed to go out through the door. This ain't nothing new at all for him to have been complaining about it. It was funny, yes, but also, motherfucker, where you been the last 20 years?
Yeah, really.
Or even longer than that, because
and conspiracy theories.
I'm pretty sure this goes back to at least the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
where people have been able to go through the door.
I'm sure, yeah, but don't you? I mean, I recall that time period where, like, when I would think of steel cage matches, even in the video games, Dre, like, the video games didn't allow me to open the fucking door. I'm pretty sure SmackDown Know Your Role or SmackDown 2 or at WWF Attitude, like, I'm pretty sure I could not open the steel cage door. I'm pretty sure I had to climb up over and either stand at the top like a moron because I couldn't figure out the controls, and my player would either jump off the cage into the ring again, or he would figure it out and climb down. But I don't recall ever, like, in the old days, like, telling the ref to open the door so I can just walk out. I just thought it was a dumb rule for a steel cage.
So we just forgot all about how Kane debuted in WWE?
Yo, but he ripped... No, that was the Hell in the Cell. And he ripped the cell door off. Badass. It's badass. But,
Yeah. But I mean, the door, I'm saying, as long as the door has been on the cage, I'm pretty sure people have been able to go out through the door.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that ended pretty much with the end of the blue cage.
Yeah.
Maybe there may be some small period in the mid 90s post blue steel cage where yes, you had to go by pinfall over the top. But like I said, I'm pretty sure at least since the Attitude Era, you've been able to go out the door.
Yeah, I mean, this is fucking silly. It's fucking silly. Anyway.
I mean, I know I'm pretty sure they've used that as a gimmick where like you could, like people have gone out, tried to go out the door, and then somebody on the outside has literally slammed the door in their face.
Yeah, I think you're right. Then the main event, Jey Uso defeated Logan Paul. That's all I gotta really say is, I think we're right. I think the NXT PLE was way better than the Saturday Night Main Event. Even though you would think with this card it would have been a lot better, but I was not thrilled to the point where like I wasn't even like we weren't gonna do a predictions episode. So.
Pretty much since they've brought it back, Saturday Night Main Event has proven itself to be nothing more than just a glorified house show.
Saturday
Nothing.
night.
This is the only one where this is the first one where anything of any remote interest happened, and that was just the return of Bronson Reed and Cody Rhodes.
Right.
Other than that, everything was safe. A steel cage match with not a drop of blood. And really, I don't even remember how much they actually really used the cage in that match. I don't remember, like, they talked about it like it was a big, brutal match. I don't remember it being that. Other than being, like, just a regular, hard-hitting wrestling match that happened to take place in a steel cage.
Yeah. It was kind of
nothing about it stood out. Nothing about it was memorable. Nothing really about this whole show was memorable, just like all the other Saturday Night Main Events.
Right.
Like I said, Bronson Reed returned, Cody returned, and immediately announced the main event, what is basically the main event match for the PLE that was taking place 2 weeks later on this freaking super speed schedule that WWE has now with these PLEs.
Yeah.
Because that's how we have to book now, because as soon as this event is over, we got another one 2 weeks later that we now have to try to build up for.
Night of Champions. Fuck. It is. It's like just the punch and then the next punch. It's just like, it's just nonstop, man. It's just like.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about just from Saturday Night Main Event to this.
Oh, dude.
Like, remember how Saturday Night Main Event went off there? Cody was saying, me and Jay versus we'll see you and Logan at Money in the Bank. Like, he didn't challenge them. He didn't say, hey, you guys want to fight? He's like, no, we'll see you at this. Basically, yep, this match is happening. Okay.
I would have been like, if I was Logan Paul, I'd be like, the fuck you will. Like, the fuck.
Right.
Oh, man.
You didn't even get a chance to try to, for the heels to even try to worm their way out of it or be like, no, we're not doing, like, no, it's happening.
Or be like, wait, are you all of a sudden general manager, Cody? Are you just making matches over here? I mean, you haven't been around since WrestleMania. You just come back all of a sudden with your little face twitches that you do when you do your promos, and then you wanna make matches all of a sudden. But I mean, like, let's face it. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to the Money in the Bank matches here. But you're absolutely right. Saturday Night Main Event is now Saturday Night Mid Card. It feels like I would
Saturday
have
Night
loved,
House show.
I would have loved if they would have just given us that NXT PLE, and then that's it. That would have been the buffer between. I would have been absolutely content with that. Because we started the PLE a little late, Money in the Bank, because we were, I was helping somebody move, and I was like, all right, well, we're just going to get back to my place, and we're going to just start it. Like, what's nice is, like, it was on Peacock, so I can just rewind it to the very beginning now. I remember, I think because when Peacock first had it, you couldn't do that. You had to basically watch it from where it was started, or where it's at, and then you could rewind it after the PLE. So, I forgot you don't have to do that anymore. You can just, if you want to start it all the way back. And honestly, we were only an hour behind, but once I fast forward through, like, commercials and shit, we caught up pretty quickly. So
Sure, because half the damn show now is commercials.
just commercials and ads and just and recaps of shit I just watched or Raw and SmackDown. But like, you know, Hulu's got the right fucking idea when they recap, because I don't have access to watch SmackDown anymore because I'm not paying a full cable bill just to watch SmackDown. You know, I got my Raw on Netflix. I can get my, you know, NXT in certain places on certain apps. And then I get, you know, the PLEs on Peacock. But, like, you know, SmackDown, that's on USA, man. And, like, I'm not paying a full cable bill, and I know for a damn fact that's all I'm going to watch on there until hockey season comes back. So, just, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that one, because Lord knows, once this NBA season is over with, I don't know what the hell I'm going to be really using YouTube TV for.
Yeah.
I'm considering, honestly, dropping it at least for the summer until August, when obviously the NFL starts back up, and then be right back on it with my Sunday ticket. But
yeah, and
outside of that,
there's a phrase, there's a saying for people who like us who stay on certain streaming apps like that for a bit and then dip out and then come back. It's called churners, and you know, lately what they've been doing to get rid of churners is they've been bundling stuff like HBO, Hulu, you know, but it's become a full-time thing if you want to watch wrestling, like how much you have to watch and now where you have to get it. I mean, I thought like a dumbass when the WWE Network finally launched. I was like, this is great. This is awesome. We get everything right here. And I was like, could you imagine? Because there was a time where we had NXT on the WWE app. And I thought, could you imagine if one day, if we had Raw and SmackDown, like everything just under one roof? And I understand why, as I got older, I understand why. The business reason, how much money they make from Netflix, how much money they made from Peacock, how much money they make from USA Network. I get it. Absolutely get it. But could you imagine, Dre? Just one app to rule them all for WWE content? Ugh. It's so simple.
it would have been nice, but
We're not going to get it.
it's just not to be.
It's just, yeah, dude, absolutely, it's just not meant to be. All right, well, we're going to take a little break. In that break, we are going to let Doyle take over for a little bit, and then we're going to come back. So we're going to give him the room, and we're just going to, you know, just dip out of here. We're going to go out, maybe have smoke, you know, maybe go out and make a sandwich, or, you know, file our taxes for next year. With that said, let me dip out of here.
Oh, hello there. It's me. It's the DOILE. And unfortunately, the corporate overlords that rule my existence have chosen to see fit to work me down to a tiny little nub. And I won't be able to make the recording this evening, so I thought I'd just drop in here and give you a few thoughts about Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which is supposed to be a Big 5 pay-per-view, but looking at this card on paper, Sure doesn't feel like it. I will say, credit where credit is due. For once, I thought the most of the elimination matches, or not elimination matches, qualifying matches for the elimination. No, not the elimination. Jesus Christ. Money in the Bank. Ooh, this is off to a great start, isn't it, guys? We're pretty good. I mean, I feel like usually it's, Roman Reigns versus Tozawa and one of Escobar's friends, And I feel like some of these matches, it was a little hard to predict who was going to come out on top of them. But we've got our field set. Before we get into those matches, though, let's cover the undercard, maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure if that tag match is going to main event or not. We'll get to that. Let's start with the daughters of Erin's dear old Emerald Isle. Of course, Lyra and Becky. Becky wins. Lyra has to raise her hand and proclaim her the better woman. If Lyra wins, Becky can never challenge her again for the IC title. And that tells me that this is going to be the end of the feud. And because it's going to be the end of the feud, that tells me that Lyra is going to win. Because if Becky wins, why won't Lyra get a rematch? Anytime these ladies are on the card, I think it's a good chance there might be a match of the night candidate, and I think no different here. So I expect this to be a fun match, and I think Lyra wins. Becky can move on to do anything else, really, pretty seamlessly, I think. She's Becky fucking Lynch, after all. So I'm going to pick Lyra there. Now, this tag match, doesn't this feel like a Raw go-home kind of match rather than a pay-per-view main event? It is kind of interesting. You got both champions in there. And so hopefully that men's Money in the Bank match happens before this match and maybe kind of casts a pall over the whole affair. But I don't expect whoever wins that briefcase, which I'll get to, is going to cash in here. Why neither of these titles are getting defended on pay-per-view, especially a supposedly Big Five pay-per-view, is beyond me. The booking of this match just really doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me. Maybe they're just putting somebody with Cena that they know is going to get booed. Try to dissipate some of the cheering that's kind of been happening for Cena, but we'll see. I think the heels are going to go over. I originally thought that maybe we might get Cody Cena 2 at SummerSlam with Cody taking the belt back, but I feel like this Cena heel run with the championship is not ready to be over yet. So I'm going to pick Cena to pin Cody yet again, and hopefully knock Cody down a few pegs, which makes him have to, of course, rise up a few pegs to get back to Cena. And I think eventually he will be the one to take the title off of Cena, but I don't think that'll be till later in the year. Oh, we'll get to the Money in the Bank itself matches real quick. These are kind of interesting. They've all got a super duper star and 5 mid-carders. And they also can all be broken up into groups of 3, right? In the men's match, you've got 3 guys that have a posse and 3 guys that don't. In the women's match, you got 3 veterans and 3 rookies. Kind of an interesting setup there. We'll start with the men. I think this one is a little more predictable than the women's match. So let's start eliminating folks. And right off the bat, sorry, Mexicans, all 3 of you gone. No offense. And I'm including El Grande Americano in that. Also, both matches have people doing double duty, which is kind of interesting, with Worlds Collide, Worlds Collide, yes. So that should be a fun pay-per-view also, but maybe we'll talk about that some other time. I think this is going to come down to Solo or Seth. And I think Solo is going to be feuding with Jacob Fatu going forward. So I don't really know what him with the briefcase looks like, which is why I'm going to pick Seth here. I think it's just been so telegraphed that it's going to be Seth. And I'll even go further to say I predict that Seth will cash in on Jay next week after he beats Gunther. I think they've kind of set up Jay with these 3 matches, kind of Braun, Logan Paul, and now Gunther. They're kind of setting him up to look big and then get the legs chopped out from under him by Seth. That just makes all the sense in the world to me. We'll see if it ends up happening. As for the ladies, this one's a little harder to predict, I think. As fucking amazing as Stephanie Vaquer has looked already, I just don't think it's time to put the briefcase on her. I think it's too soon. Same for the other two rookies, Giulia and Roxanne Perez. And Rhea doesn't need it. Rhea. I guess Seth doesn't need it either. But Rhea is Rhea. She can just go, hey, give me a title shot, and she should get a title shot. So I think this comes down to Alexa and Naomi. I could see maybe the Wyatt Six gets involved in this somehow, but it seems like they're going to be more involved in the tag team division on SmackDown. And I just don't know what good that would do Alexa Bliss, really. She's kind of treaded water since she came back, in my opinion. And I'm going to pick Naomi. I think she's going to be just fucking diabolical with that briefcase. And I mean, I know we're due for a woman to unsuccessfully cash this briefcase in. I hope this isn't the year for that. I think Naomi's just been cooking, firing on all cylinders. So I think she not only deserves a briefcase, she deserves a fun run with the briefcase and then a title at the end of it. I don't know who she will cash in on. I don't think that will be for a little while yet. But these things, typically, you have a fairly quick cash in and a fairly long. The other competitor usually has the briefcase longer. It's kind of hard to book two of these things at the same time without it feeling redundant. I think that's why they do it. Anyway, those are my quick thoughts. Hopefully, this catch you guys for the review episode. And until then, go Red Sox. I'm out. Bye.
All right. Thanks for all those predictions there, Doyle. I'm sure ours are going to be just as good. Yeah, Money in the Bank 2025. This will be the 16th annual Money in the Bank. There was a time when Money in the Bank was just a match. It started at WrestleMania. It was the idea, I believe, was through Chris Jericho brought it up. The concept is there's a briefcase that hangs above the ring, and you have between 6 to maybe 8 wrestlers, who qualified for these matches to have this ladder match. And it's I think it's been a great idea. We talk about the stable, the 4 pay-per-views that kind of hold up WWE like a table. We have WrestleMania, we have the Royal Rumble, we have SummerSlam, we have Survivor Series, and I believe that Money in the Bank PLE is just as important. This briefcase gives the superstar who gets it an opportunity to cash in on any title at any time for 1 year. And we've seen superstars cash them in like immediately, like the same night. I get it. I mean, you want that title, like, why not leave it the same night? Why carry it out, But then there are the people who carry it and hold it for a year, and they pick and choose their moments. There's superstars who cash in and fail. That sucks. You're waiting and waiting, cashing in, failing. There's ones who announce matches. I've never been. I mean, you can. John Cena is one of them, along with several others that just announce, like, I'm going to have my match next month with you. I'm putting it in now. Amazing. We could sit here and talk all night about some of the greatest cash-ins, like, Edge for the very first cash-in, Heist of the Century with Seth Rollins, just so many. Dolph Ziggler cashing in. It's just moments. Great. It creates great moments. That's what I like about Money in the Bank. It's also, for us, a potential new champion, like, on the horizon. Like, there are times somebody has won the briefcase. I could not see them as champion. Let's say Otis winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. I was like, ugh. That was during COVID times. Let's remember that. I was like, oh yeah, that's not a good pick. And they did find a way to get that off of him. Dre, off the top of your head, can you name 3 superstars who have won Money in the Bank more than once?
Off the top of my head, absolutely not.
I'll tell you, it is.
Couldn't tell you for shit who's won it more than once.
It is Edge. It is The Miz, and it is CM Punk. Now, CM Punk is the only person to win them back-to-back, actually win the match. Now, The Miz and Edge have won the Money in the Bank briefcase from the wrestler. Edge beating Mr. Anderson for the briefcase, because at the time they didn't feel like Anderson was the guy, Mr. Kennedy. So they took the briefcase from him. And when Otis won it, he fucking lost it in court, wrestling court with The Miz through bribery by JBL, and through a match then. So yeah, sometimes when somebody wins a briefcase, they're not guaranteed to hold on to the briefcase even. I always saw the briefcase as like it's not quite a title, but it kind of feels the same vibe as a title. Like you have something that nobody can take away from you, but you're only important as long as you have this. And the second you cash that in, whether you win or lose, there's no more value to it. So I can understand holding on to it for quite some time because it brings value to your character. Instead of just, being real quick. Some notable ones. Liv Morgan cashing in on Ronda Rousey, same night. Kane cashing in, Rey Mysterio, maybe, I think it was, for the world title. There's some guys who cash in like just right away. Love it. But last year we had a cash in and he lost it within 5 minutes. It happens. It happens. So this PLE though, this one is going to be in Inglewood, California, the Intuit Dome. Like we said, across the street from where Worlds Collide is going to be in the Kia Forum. So hopefully El Grande Americano can bring those boots over that he borrowed on Raw the other day and bring them over, to Chad Gable. Because I heard he had to lend them to him. Great guy. Lend him wrestling boots. But let's go over the card here. Not a big card, Dre. We got 4 matches, and we're accustomed to 5, sometimes even 6. Hell, we got 5 matches at Saturday Night Main Event. But this makes sense. They're going to be given lengthy time. I hope we get lengthy time. Hopefully we don't get it's just full of fucking promos and recaps and just eating up the time here. I want to get some in-ring.
It's 4 matches on what's going to be a 3-hour PLE. At least an hour and a half of this freaking PLE is going to be bullshit and ads.
Dude,
and stuff.
Bullshit.
Even if they give each one of these matches 30 minutes, which they're not, because Lyra and Becky are not. That's not going to be a 30-minute match.
No.
So you got, even if the other 3, if the main event tag team match gets 30 minutes and both Money in the Bank ladder matches get 30 minutes, which again, history says they won't. That's an hour and a half right there. And then you probably give maybe 20 minutes to Lyra and Becky. So hour and a half, that gives you an hour and 50 minutes. Still an hour and 10 minutes of fluff, BS, and commercials. And again, we know it's going to be more than that. Mm-hmm. We know it's going to be. Like, if I had to guess, like if there was a money line on time for these matches,
right?
My guess is the tag team match will probably be the longest. I'm guessing that will probably be, I'm going to say maybe 25 minutes. I think the women's Money in the Bank ladder match probably gets 18 to 20 minutes. I think the men's match probably gets maybe 20 to 23 minutes. And I think Becky versus Lyra gets 15, 17 minutes at the most.
Oh, here this is gonna shock you here. I'm looking right now at last year's card, right? Last year's women's Money in the Bank ladder match got 16 minutes and 50 seconds. And the men's got 14 minutes. Or no, the men's here got 16 minutes and 30 seconds. They only had 5 matches. The longest match they had last year was the Bloodline. Solo, Jacob, Tama Tonga, and Tongaloa defeated Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. Yeah, that was only 24 minutes, 40 seconds. Mm-hmm. Granted, that was five matches, though, compared to the 4 that we have. So, I agree with you, with your numbers here. I'm interested to see how well this, cooks. But, let's get into these matches here. Let's go from, they're all just, okay, Lyra Valkyrie, our Intercontinental Women's Champion, versus Becky Lynch. Now, the stipulations for this is quite silly. If Becky Lynch loses, she can no longer challenge for the title as long as Valkyrie is champion. Now, if Valkyrie loses, she will be forced to raise Becky Lynch's hand and acknowledge her as not the tribal chief, not the man, but as the better woman. My opinion, this feud, I think this is where the feud ends. We've had this feud for quite some time. Lyra got the win over Becky last time, right? She was able to retain that title. But I feel like we've gone this far. I don't think they're going to let Becky lose. I mean, with these silly stipulations and stuff, I think Valkyrie's going to take the L here. I mean, I know Valkyrie has been, fucking pushed since she's got on the main roster. She's held 2 titles, even if for a short amount of time. And, she's in the main event scene with Becky in some form or fashion, and she's, the first IC champion. But I think she can handle a loss from Becky. I think it would be, just another notch on Becky's belt for that Grand Slam championship. I feel like, we're going to get some women like that coming back for that title. I could see Bayley winning that at some point. I could see, maybe Alexa Bliss, putting that on their accolades of, I'm also been Intercontinental Champion. It's another title for these women to win. And I'm also thinking of where are we going forward. I think we could see Bayley return. And Bayley would be a good fit for Becky as an opponent when she comes back, and then there you go. Down the line, Bayley defeats Becky, and now Bayley also has that added to her Grand Slam title, reign. I mean, that's how I see it going. I see it, possibly being one of the better matches of the night. As long as they get enough time to cook here. But I think this is where Becky wins the feud. And Valkyrie just has to take the L and raise Becky's hand as, I'm not just the man and not just the better woman, I'm the champion. Dre, what are you thinking? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm crazy?
I think this one could go either way. I could see, because on the one hand, Becky seems determined to get Lyra over. She's putting in hella work to try to get Lyra over. And maybe I'm in the extreme minority, but it just ain't quite hitting for me as far as Lyra getting over and me seeing her as really that next top star. Again, despite everything that she's done, it's just not connecting with me. I mean, she has good matches. It's not that her matches don't suck. She's gotten better on the mic. She's improving there as far as her mic work. but there's still just small, subtle things that just aren't working for me. Like the fact that she beat Becky Lynch. She won the match with Becky Lynch, but then Becky Lynch whooped her ass right after.
Yeah.
Or the fact that she keeps winning matches, but she never wins with her finisher. It's always some sort of pull some shit out of your ass out of nowhere to get a win.
Right.
Like, to me, that's not credible. Like, you're not getting resounding, definitive, I beat you wins. It's, I got the 3 count. Mm-hmm. To me, there's a difference between I got a 3 count versus I beat you. And to me, she's in that I got the 3 count territory. So maybe this is the match where she finally does hit her finisher, whatever the hell it is, on Becky Lynch and definitively wins and beats her and is done.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I could also see Becky Lynch pinning her and becoming Intercontinental Champion. And then where does that leave Lyra?
Right.
Oh, am I supposed to look at Lyra after this and think that she's the, this next top star? That she goes from losing this Intercontinental Championship to now she's supposed to, credibly challenge for the Women's World title now? No. That's not, at least that's not how I would look at her. To me, she loses this and she's right back in the mid-card where she's currently at now, but she's in the mix of it with everybody else, not mid-card, borderline main event. She's not at the upper echelon of the mid-card to me. She's just back down in the muck with all the rest of them. And I don't think they want that for her. It seems to me that they are still very high, very high on Lyra. And it's for that reason that I think she's probably going to win the match. Because you said Lyra can afford to take the loss. I disagree. I think Becky can easily afford to take the loss and move right on to whatever program she wants to next.
Right.
I think Lyra needs the win to maintain credibility as a top star or potential next top star.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, I like the fact that we're on different, edges of the sword here, because you're right. It could go either way. And I you know what? I think I'd be happy with either decision. I mean, let's face it, Lyra losing to any, like Becky, that's if you're gonna lose to anybody on the women's roster, that's not a bad person to lose to. But if you beat that person, to beat somebody like Becky in a feud, not just the match, like, you're right though, to put her down for the count, put her down and keep her down. I believe it's the Nightwing is her finisher, but yeah, that would be nice to see that done instead of these roll-ups, like the barely getting by. I kind of
like the last match she had, she was holding on to Becky with one arm while holding her nose with the other arm because apparently she took a nasty shot to it, and like that didn't look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, she needs to win this, and she needs to win it definitively with her finisher. Like, if she wins this shit on some other, counter, backslide, 1, 2, 3 bullshit or whatever, then no, to me, she's not in any better position than she was before this feud.
Yeah. Well, yeah, either way, man, it's going to be a pretty decent match. Hopefully they get some good time to cook here, put on a good match. If it's going to be the last one of the feud, I hope they get enough time here. God, I'm just curious to know what Lyra's going to wear. Wings, right? Bunch of fucking feathers. For sure.
Probably. Like I've said before, Lyra looks good in everything but her wrestling gear.
Nice, I like that. All right, moving on. Let's go to Cody Rhodes teaming up with Jey Uso versus John Cena and Logan Paul. Really? Is this... We're running... I don't know. Like, John Cena has a little amount of dates left. Would this been one of the matches you would have had on that card?
Nobody would have had this match on their card.
Oh man! Like,
But they got to kill time again.
Yeah.
Cramming PLEs one after the other. They got to do some shit with the champs and kill time until their next real title defense against whoever.
Now, when
Cody coming back is obviously looking to get his title back.
Yeah.
They're not going to immediately jump into Cody versus Cena. That's going to have some sort of build up, I guess, over the course of Raws, SmackDowns, and probably at least another 1 or 2 PLEs before they actually have the match at a PLE. Same thing with Jey Uso. Before his next credible challenger looks to be Gunther again. So they had to do something with him on this show. After having, just defended the title against Logan Paul, he defended against Logan Paul at a PLE, and then 2 weeks later he defends it against Gunther at another PLE. I mean, you could do that if you wanted to have him as a real fighting, defending, gauntlet running champion, but that apparently is not the route that they chose to go. Instead, they're just going to buy time with these guys in this tag team match.
Right. Damn. Yeah, you know what else, too? Is, you think them pairing... I did hear, earlier in the year that Logan Paul wanted to work with John Cena. Now, I thought that... I was thinking John Cena versus Logan Paul. And I was like... I was not about that. But I guess this is what I get instead. And I guess, Logan Paul will bring enough heat that maybe people won't be cheering for Cena as much.
Logan Paul can make people boo Jesus if he was his tag team partner.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. He's just bringing heat. Also, we're probably going to do about 10, maybe 15 minutes of yeeting. For sure, dude, because we did 10 minutes of yeeting the other day on SmackDown. Or no, it was Raw. They were yeeting, we went to commercial, and then we came back, they were still yeeting, and we did some recapping and some shit, and then they were still yeeting. I think this match, we're going to get the good guys going over. I mean, Cody Rhodes is back, and he needs a solid, win. John Cena can take a loss here because it doesn't matter. It's a fucking tag match. I can see Logan Paul being the guy to take the pin. I don't see any champions here taking a pin. Obviously, and definitely not Cody coming back. It will be nice to see two of the champions face each other in the ring. Even though I never thought in a million years the two champions in the ring at the same time are going to be Jey Uso and John Cena. We're putting these two guys, on par with each other right now. I guess. I mean, I just never would have thought that shit. Last year you would have told me that, I would have laughed in your fucking face.
I would love for Jey Uso to get the pin on John Cena in this match, but that's probably not going to happen.
That's a good one.
But I think that would probably be my favorite outcome of this.
Yeah, that would be pretty fucking good though, right? Oh shit, right? You may be the champ, but you're not the only champ. And they proved before when they had champion versus champion, and we saw, Cody defeated Gunther. And to me that knocked Gunther down just a slight bit of a peg, that he just couldn't beat Cody, and it knocked him down a peg. That he felt that way mentally. That he just
it didn't mean shit to me. It was a side quest.
Was that a Saudi one?
Yeah, it was. It was that freaking Crown Jewel Championship bullshit.
Yes, it was. You're fucking right, dude. So that's right. Saudi stuff is not canon. It doesn't count.
No, that shit is, like I said, that shit is side quests.
It's this is the MCU, right? And that was all the Netflix stuff that happened, the Daredevil stuff and whatever. But then one day we'll get
except that shit's canon.
Saudi. Yeah, but listen, one day we'll get WrestleMania in Saudi, and they're like, oh, this, all of our stuff that happened in Saudi is now canon. The world's best Royal Rumble, it is canon. Like, the greatest Royal Rumble. Yes, like, probably, the greatest Goldberg versus Undertaker match. Like, fucking terrible. Anyway, I think the good guys are going to get a win here. I think we're going to get, Logan Paul is going to get pinned. I hope to see a pretty good table spot, maybe. Maybe we'll say Jey Uso put Logan Paul through a table, or vice versa. The announcer's table. We're going to see, like, 3 crossroads at once. Pretty typical. Typical match. Typical tag match here. I don't think John Cena and Logan Paul are going to be on the same page the whole match. 2 heels who don't like each other, but are trying to work, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of deal. But I don't think those two are going to work well together. I think that's what they're going to lose.
Yeah, Logan's the most prime one to take the pin because he's already lost to Cody and he's lost to Jay. So him taking a pin from either one of them doesn't matter much. And it doesn't make much sense for Cena to pin Cody and put him down again in a tag match. It doesn't mean much when pretty obviously, we're going to get Cody challenging Cena for the title again. So if he gets pinned now, that kind of hurts that. I don't think they're going to want to have Cena pin Jay, although that's probably a viable option as well. Cena, if the Cena and Paul are going to win, it's probably Jay that's going to take the pin, probably from Cena. I don't think they're going to let Logan Paul pin Jay because then that gives Logan Paul a reason to challenge it again for the title, which nobody wants that again. Whereas Cena could probably pin Jey Uso. And then there's the other option that I would like to see, which would be Jey Uso getting the pin over John Cena. Because I think that would give Jey Uso more of a boost as the guy who won the match for his team, as opposed to the predictable top name Cody or predictable top name of John Cena.
Right.
So if it were me, I would book Jey Uso and Cody to win with Jey getting the pin over John Cena.
Right.
What's probably going to happen is Jey Uso and Cody win with Cody probably pinning Logan Paul.
Okay. Cool, man. It'd be a pretty decent match, though. I think that match is all about entrances and finishers. Big ass entrances. Yeah. Everyone's gonna be fucking eating. Everyone's
well, they won't be eating that long because I'm pretty sure Jay's gonna come out first and then Cody.
Yeah, it'd probably be smart, right?
It's true as far as their team. I think. Yeah. Honestly, probably to kick off the show, it's probably going to be the good guys coming out first. Jay's probably going to come out first, then Cody, then Logan Paul, then John Cena.
Yep, I agree. All right. Let's move on here to the women's Money in the Bank. Oh, wait, before we move on, I do want to mention, I don't think there'll be any cash-ins, only because there's too many people involved in this match, this tag match. So I don't believe that we'll get like a champion, or a Money in the Bank winner cashing in on any of these guys, wherever they may place on the card. If they did place earlier, it
is the main event.
Okay, it is the main event. I mean, that always plays a factor.
Cody and Jay versus Cena and Paul is the main event.
Yeah, I just don't think so. I think we have too many people. I think if we're gonna have any kind of interference, Logan Paul has plenty of fucking people to do that. We also have Travis Scott. So
depends on who wins.
Yeah. But I
would not rule it out.
Okay. I don't think it is gonna happen, but if I wish CM Punk was in the men's Money in the Bank match, because he said it perfectly on Raw the other night. He goes, "I've beaten you before and I got your number, you little bitch." Or he says, "I'm gonna pick the bones, you little bitch." Yeah, but yeah, so the women's, we have Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Giulia? Is that how you pronounce
Giulia,
her name?
yeah.
Giulia, okay. Yeah, she's a former NXT champion, new to the SmackDown roster. Naomi and Stephanie.
Stephanie Vaquer.
Yes.
La Primera.
For people who don't know who Stephanie is, Booker T, would you please just let us know?
Time. Here we go, baby. One more time.
Thank you, Booker. Yes, Stephanie. I did enjoy a lot of the qualifying matches for these this time around, men's and women's. We did see recently that Zoe Stark fucked up her knee pretty bad for the qualifying match. So she is going to be out for quite some time. If you haven't seen it, just Google it. I mean, it's rough whenever you see a wrestler like legit hurt themselves in the ring, and you see ligaments go directions they're not supposed to go. And sometimes like when a wrestler pulls something, like a quadricep muscle, you can't really, I don't know. Sometimes you can't catch when it happens, but this, caught it. But yeah, given the card that we have, I went through and I'm thinking of where these women are in their career right now and who could benefit it the most, right? Rhea has been there, done that as champion recently. I feel like Rhea right now is too big to be Money in the Bank winner. Unfortunately, I feel like she's just too big for the briefcase. She's been in the main event title scene a lot. And I think right now the Money in the Bank is more or less trying to build new stars. And I know when we discuss the next match, I'm kind of just putting a fucking shoe in my mouth when I say that, because I'm going to totally backtrack what I just said. But for some of these matches, I feel like they're for building people who haven't had it, people who could use it, people who could definitely benefit. Rhea doesn't need the briefcase. Hell, Rhea doesn't need a fucking women's title to stay relevant. Mommy is mommy. She's fucking relevant regardless. I think, Roxanne Perez and Giulia, they're fresh to the roster. I think, they are former NXT Women's Champions, both of them. Former NXT Women's Tag Title Champions. So they both are bringing something to the table. I think they're going to be the ones that do the great spots in the match. The ones that we're going to remember. So they're going to be fed to the system of ladder spots. I believe. I feel like they're gonna one of them are gonna pull off a spot that's gonna let them lay the fuck out for the rest of the match. Stephanie. I mean, this girl has held the NXT Women's title, the NXT North American title, and she is the first, I believe, to hold both titles simultaneously and defend both titles in the same night. And so she's coming with.
Don't let Mandy Rose hear you say that.
Yeah, I know, right? But she is coming, to this match with something. Fucking phone. But yeah, and then we have Alexa Bliss, who's always been fantastic. Alexa Bliss, accolades as mile long. We talk about her, all the titles she's won and stuff, and everything she's done in the company. She's been gone for a while, and when it comes down to the two women who I really believe who could win this, to me, Alexa Bliss comes to a close second. Maybe a little bit of assistance from the Wyatt Six. You know, we have Nikki, who's part of the Wyatt Six. Maybe we could get a little assistance there. You know, like if the lights go out and then all of a sudden, like Nikki's on the top of the ladder with some other, you know, I don't know, Roxanne, and knocks Roxanne off the ladder and gets Alexa Bliss the opportunity to get up the ladder. But I really believe that it's time, and she's positioned right now per storyline, per gimmick, per the heat. I feel like Naomi would be a great candidate for Money in the Bank. She's one I could see cashing in quickly. Snagging that opportunity, grabbing that title from one of our women's champions, and I see now. I know I'm looking a little bit further ahead. Maybe being the type of heel that kind of gets away with holding the title for quite some time, and I feel like it's setting up. It'd be great for either Jade Cargill or Bianca when she returns, to have them both chasing an equal enemy who has gold. So it's not only you're chasing somebody you both have beef with, but you guys are both chasing somebody who has gold. And, you know, I think that'd be great, because now you have two faces chasing a heel. I guess that's how I kind of want it to be. Will I get it? Probably fucking not. But I feel like just the way she's positioned between, you know, being hated by both of these women in this group, her having that title gives her that, you know, that upper hand, of course, on both of them, and gives them both something. We have two women gunning for the same title, and it's not just two regular women. It's three women who have a very good history with each other in the past few years. And that could be Jade's first title win, you know, is getting it off of Naomi. Now, I know I'm really jumping the gun here discussing this, but, like, that's just how I see it playing out. But, Dre, I want to hear your opinion. How do you feel like this is going to plan out, and where is it leading to?
Well, first things first, this is going to be the match of the night, hands down. All four of these women can absolutely cook in the ring. Even though I've said it from the beginning, I still maintain Rhea Ripley is the oddball out in this match, but somebody's got to be able to pull off the power moves in the slam, so I guess it's her. I do agree that, yes, I do, that you said that she's too big for the briefcase. And if she ends up being, I think she's the worst choice to win because of the very reason you said. She's too big for it. She doesn't need it. She can pretty much challenge for the women's title at any time that they choose, anytime she wants to, because she's at that stature. She has that clout now. And as we saw in WrestleMania, she can just basically fucking force her way into a damn match if she wants to, apparently, with zero consequences. So she doesn't need it at all. There's no reason for her to win unless some corporate entity makes a corporate business decision to put the thing on the most popular person. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, would be the only reason for Rhea Ripley to win Money in the Bank. So I hope she doesn't, because, again, she doesn't need it. But outside of that, you can make a strong argument for any one of these women to win the match. I mean, Roxanne Perez, if they're going to play into her being the prodigy like they did in NXT, this would just further solidify that and help establish that for her on the main roster, that she is, in fact, the prodigy. That she comes in here in her first major match with real stakes, she comes out on top and becomes Miss Money in the Bank. Naomi, again, you already made the argument for her with where her character is at right now. She would make for a strong threatening character to whoever is the WWE Women's Champion. with how her character work has been going. Do that and have her lingering in the background with that briefcase, as dangerous as she is and could get cash in at any moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Alexa Bliss. Sure, if they're going to do something if they're going to finally connect her with the Wyatt Six, that could play a factor.
Right.
To me, I don't know that she's the second best option, though, because she still just got back and she's still kind of up in the air. Like right now, she's just back on television. She doesn't really have any direction as far as what her purpose is or what she's doing now, other than just being on television. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know that there's a strong or as strong an argument for her as Miss Money in the Bank as compared to others.
Right.
So that would leave Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer. Both who have come into WWE very high profile stars.
Right.
Both saw virtually immediate success in NXT as champions. Had, albeit a bit of a rushed dream match between the two on NXT before being split up and obviously being put with Giulia on SmackDown, Vaquer on Raw. Again, I don't know that there's as strong an argument for Giulia to be Miss Money in the Bank. Again, she's obviously very high profile, but I don't know that she has the same type of momentum behind her like Stephanie Vaquer seems to have. And that's why Stephanie Vaquer is my pick to win the match. I think between her and Giulia, between those two, I think Vaquer is the one that really has the rocket strapped to her back, and who I think they're going to push to the moon on the main roster.
Okay.
And make champion in pretty, I won't say short order, but I would not be surprised if Stephanie Vaquer becomes women's world champion before WrestleMania. Or by WrestleMania.
Out of the three new girls in that group who are being called up to the main roster onto this PLE match, I absolutely agree. Stephanie is the one with the
Roxanne Perez is probably going to have the slowest burn of the three as far as getting to the top.
Yep.
She'll probably have the slowest, but she has all the potential in the world because she has shown that she can absolutely go with anybody. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter size, big or small. Like she can absolutely be credible with anybody. So to me, the two best candidates for winning would be Stephanie Vaquer or Naomi. But I'm going to go with Stephanie Vaquer. I think she becomes Miss Money in the Bank.
Okay.
La Primera.
Let's get into the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. We had a bunch of qualifying matches, and I almost got my fantasy match of AJ Styles and CM Punk. That is the closest I've ever fucking gotten to my fantasy match. I mean, with El Grande Americano in the match. But, the only time they fought was sometime in the Indies. I think in like 2004 or something maybe. But, I mean, let's go. I mean, these guys are on the same fucking roster, I think. Let's get it done. Apparently they're not doing anything for this PLE, so what the hell. But we have Solo Sikoa, L.A. Knight, Penta, Seth freaking Rollins, Andrade, and El Grande Americano. Now, I could probably make a good argument for most of these guys, right?
No.
But I'm trying here. I think we're going to have...
Two of these guys were in the damn match last year.
Oh, yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, LA Knight and Andrade were in this very match last year.
But yeah, I mean, like I think LA Knight is starting a feud possibly with Aleister Black. I don't think this is where you give it to Solo. I don't. I mean, as much as it would be interesting to see him have the briefcase, and Fatu has the United States title. Him thinking about cashing in on that title instead, maybe having that fear linger over him. Like, yeah, I'm going to cash in on the world title at WWE, but like, I can always cash in on that United States title you have. But I don't think they're going to go that route. I don't see Penta being the guy. I think it's too soon for Penta. As hot as he is right now. Like you said, Andrade was here last year. Andrade is just a seat filler. I mean, he's a great wrestler, but come on. I mean, I don't see them giving it to Andrade. I mean, we're just being honest here. It's great to see El Grande Americano in this match. I think he's going to have some great spots. I think he's going to be the pure entertainment of this fucking match. Could you imagine if he won? That'd be fucking crazy. And then he, he would have to stay with that gimmick, because if he cashed in, Chad Gable wouldn't be coming out with whatever title he cashed in on. Whether it be like the IC title or whatever, but El Grande Americano would have to come out. But let's be real, man. The most logical person who's right now the hottest person out of these people, who literally has his own fucking stable, who made Heist of the Century, one of the greatest cash-ins in history, I think. At a main event at WrestleMania on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Like, Seth Rollins. Like, okay, we've had him attempt to get the world title. Didn't work. Attempted to get a title of his own. It just didn't work that way. But imagine Seth Rollins with a briefcase again. Knowing that any moment, and he's going to wait. He's going to cash in at a beautiful moment, a beautiful time. And to have him be up there with, that list of people who've held the briefcase more than once and successfully won it at Money in the Bank twice. He'll be right up there with CM Punk. That's awesome. I think that'd be great. Whether, I don't know what title it would be. Like, what if he's the guy to cash in on John Cena? Probably not. I see it more likely on Jey Uso being a face, Yeah, dude. All roads point to Seth freaking Rollins in this match. He has the help. They're just gonna give it all to him, right? Like, he's got the faction, he's got the muscle, he's got the mouthpiece, he's got the briefcase. What's next? Becky Lynch with the IC title? Joining his group? I don't know. Come on, Dre, let's get some feedback. What are you thinking?
That is why I said you can't rule out a cash-in before the end of the night. Because the obvious choice here in this match is Seth Rollins.
Yes.
The only other remotely viable option would be LA Knight, just because if he ain't going to be U.S. champion, as popular as he is, he needs to have something to keep him interesting. And the Money in the Bank briefcase would be that. But as we've seen already, they generally don't do two baby faces as Money in the Bank briefcase holders usually. Mm-hmm. It's either two heels or one baby face and a heel. I don't know that they've done two baby faces as Money in the Bank briefcase holders. Plus, it's just more interesting usually when a heel is holding it.
Right.
As opposed to a baby face. Because, again, you got the whole cashing in thing. Usually if a baby face has it, they're probably going to cash in pretty damn fast to capitalize on that win, that title win over somebody, and get that feel-good moment of this person finally becoming champion. So, I think that kind of rules out LA Knight. Although, again, he's popular. You need him to do something in the meantime. Sure, he could be the guy walking around with the briefcase and talk shit to everybody about when he decides he wants to. And sure, that could go for a while. But more than likely, it's Seth Rollins who would win it. I'm not saying that he's going to win it and cash in the same night. The only reason why I'm saying that is because they're clearly not going to have Seth Rollins cash in on John Cena and take the title off Cena out of nowhere.
Right.
And as much as they've talked up Gunther challenging Jay and built up that match coming up, I don't see Seth cashing in tonight or at that same night and becoming champion and putting the kibosh on that match, on the Jay Gunther match. Now, Seth could cash in after the Jay Gunther match, especially if that match is really hard knocks and Jay is, barely hangs on to win. Seth could cash in then, sure. And if I was to put money on it, I'd say there's probably a pretty strong chance of that happening. Mm-hmm. I don't think any of us have expected Jay to hold the belt past SummerSlam.
Right.
And with these developments with Seth in them, I don't know that it's guaranteed that he's going to make it to SummerSlam as champion. Especially if Seth Rollins wins that Money in the Bank briefcase. He doesn't strike me as the type that's going to sit there and be running this faction and all this talk and then, go for months on end as the Money in the Bank briefcase holder.
Right.
If he gets it, he's cashing in pretty damn soon. I'd say within a month, he's cashing that fucker in. And honestly, I think that's what's going to happen. If I had to put money on it, Seth is going to win, and I think he cashes in on Jay after the Jay Gunther match and possibly becomes world champion again.
Fucking crazy. That would be crazy. And you know what though? Like it's dude, it's so possible. Like the second, like what are the chances of it becoming like the second heist of the century or something like that?
That wouldn't be that. That'd be a reach.
Yeah, it would be.
Circumstances way different.
That's something that fucking Michael Cole would try to say. It's like the second heist of the century. Or I don't know. Definitely that Slim Jim comment though. You're right about that. He's oh my god, he snapped
totally
into a
happening.
Slim Jim. This week, Pat McAfee calling Michael Cole, Michael Cole. I saw Michael Cole without his shirt on this week. Getting undressed in front of us and then flexing or whatever. Cole's gotten jacked, but
he's been working out. He got himself back in better shape because he was a pudgy fucker for a while there.
There was that split second between Michael Cole got done talking and then the entrance music hitting for the next match, and you heard clear as day Pat McAfee go, "You look like an asshole." I love it. Sometimes McAfee just says certain things. I'm like, I can't believe he was able to say that. You look like an asshole. But anyway, what a card. What a super duper exciting card.
Yeah, it's going to be a marathon on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm probably
Worlds
going to
Collide
catch
this.
that on Sunday.
Probably gonna watch both of them
back to back,
unless I decide to go to the gym on Saturday during Worlds Collide. It depends.
Yeah, I mean it is hard to catch both in the same day. Expecting people just be home all day on a fucking Saturday. Because I got shit to do.
Right.
I got a lot of shit to do.
Unless you're a diehard wrestling fan, but then again, them folk out there that's out in Cali, it's gonna be people that's got tickets to both shows.
Yeah. Yeah, for
gonna
sure.
be doing whatever little pre-events there are, and then they're gonna go to watch Worlds Collide and then walk across the street to Money in the Bank.
I mean, let's face it. If me and Doyle lived close, at Philly, we would have done the same thing. We might have done back to back. I'd be like, yeah, it's just right across the street. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
some of us did it for WrestleMania.
And if you got like
Raw was right across the street.
right, and if you got like $25,000 or whatever the fuck they probably charging for that bundle.
Oh yeah, right.
I don't know if we even look at what ticket prices were for this shit.
No, I didn't. I do want to look up as we get closer SummerSlam prices. Like, how much are they charging for 2 days of SummerSlam? Like, how much? I want to weigh out.
Well, the stories have already came out about the $40,000 tickets.
And there's all these VIP type deals you can do. Like, are we at the point now where you can spend more money at SummerSlam than you do at WrestleMania, or just as much? No. I don't think we'll ever get to that point now. WrestleMania is still WrestleMania, Yes,
but as far as it being prohibitively expensive, yes.
But we are going to have Saudi Mania soon. Oh my goodness. Well, that's all I got, man. I mean, I don't know if you got anything else in the news you want to chit-chat about.
Nothing as of right now. I just happen to be just satisfying my curiosity about freaking looking at the tickets. WWE Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank combo pass, Kia Forum and Intuit Dome.
Oh yeah, what are we looking
Floor tickets for 1 to 2 tickets together, $2,418.
Ooh.
Section upper section bowl level 200. I'm assuming these are going like $788 each. Cheapest ticket $716 each.
Yeah,
That's insane.
that is fucking crazy. And you know what else is like crazy? When you're buying tickets for a show you don't know what's on the card yet for. You could be buying tickets for a card that sucks. Absolutely sucks. I knew I wasn't going to get that at WrestleMania when we bought our tickets. But SummerSlam, that's possible. Even if you bought tickets for back-to-back shows this weekend. I mean,
just Money in the Bank right now. Looks like the tickets going for like ringside tickets on StubHub, $1,100, and these are like ringside seats or closest.
What point does it really get to that like these tickets become too expensive that we pass on opportunities of them coming to our town and we're just like, I'd rather just watch it.
Cheapest tickets. Yeah, the cheapest tickets I'm seeing on StubHub, and these are the furthest up, obviously, the nosebleeds are going for looks like the cheapest I see is $222. That's like the cheapest I see.
Yeah.
Again, those are the nosebleeds, and then they jump up to the 400s, and then the 800s, and then over $1,000. And that's just Money in the Bank. That ain't combo.
Yeah. A listener of our show, he's been on our show before, Wayne. He's on the other Wayne. But he goes to a lot of wrestling shows. I kind of would like to get his, like, input of, like, you've been to a lot of shows, like, with prices are varying up and down. Like, what's the most expensive you'll pay for a show, maybe? Like, what's the cheapest you paid for a show? Like, I mean, from what I've seen in our Discord, he does travel around, going around to a lot of shows. So somebody like that, I'd like to get his opinion on. He's like our green shirt guy. He's got to wear a PCW shirt when he does that shit.
Right.
So, yeah. Also, I do want to bring up that, to wrap up the show here, that we did get the website renewed for another year. It doesn't just renew the website. It also pays for like the account that we have to, get this podcast out there, get it on all the forum or all the outlets to get it, to get our webpage still there, to stay on the, the Pro Wrestling Tees website where we have our store, to keep our library of all our episodes. We're on episode 84. We may have only 84 episodes, but we got a shitload of hours behind those episodes. So, there's a lot of content on there you can listen to. You can write into the show, you can review. We have it up and running for another year. I want to thank, Dre, I want to thank you for helping with that. Doyle, I want to thank for helping with that. You guys definitely have helped me keep the show up and going for another year. And Carlos, revisiting the Mania, we could say we have a sponsor from another podcast, I guess. I really appreciate you guys doing what you do and the donations that you give. It really keeps the show going, and it keeps me wanting to keep doing this show because it's like, what we discussed. This is non-stop. There's no end. There's no season break. It seems like we have a fucking pay-per-view every 2 weeks at this point. There's no end in sight. I mean, we could be doing this till we're at episode 884. Whatever. It's fucking possible. We could retire and rotate people out. I mean, who knows what the future holds for PCW? But I do know for the next 365 days, we are guaranteed to fucking be here. I'm trying not to do any breaks in between. As much as I would love to get a bracket in here, it is hard to get us all together for a bracket. It is hard for us to breathe in between pay-per-views, to also want to squeeze in any other wrestling between pay-per-views. But yes, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys very much, because without you guys, without the listeners here, without the donations, PCW would not exist. So.
Absolutely.
So.
Damn. I was listening to everything. Holy fucking shit. What the hell?
What?
I was listening to everything you were saying, but I was also still browsing ticket prices for this shit.
Oh my god. Okay.
I'm looking at one as a front row seat for what the hell? For Money in the Bank, and it looks like it says official platinum, section B, row 1 C4. So it's a front row ticket. What is the deal with official platinum? The event organizer price these tickets according to market value, blah blah blah, whatever the fuck, whatever. Ticket.
Yeah.
Looks like just Money in the Bank. Front row. One ticket. Subtotal. $9,607.20.
The fuck? Do you well, first of all, you get that fucking chair you get to take home, right? But what the fuck?
The chair, that fucking price, I'm bringing some scissors. I'm cutting a piece of lock of somebody's hair off.
Liv Morgan, come here. Liv, come here. I
so
just
I get thrown into the turnbuckle. You gonna see me snip, snip.
Snip, snip. Yeah, man, I better get a fucking t-shirt. I better be sitting next to the fucking green shirt guy so I can interview him. Or be within earshot of Pat McAfee and Michael Cole so I can say shit over commentary. Something. 9,000? Am I getting Liv Morgan's phone number afterwards? What else am I getting in this fucking, what seems to be a VIP package deal?
It better be, because there's no other tickets that are anywhere near that price. All the rest of them looks like the closest tickets are. Well, no, I take that back, because there's another one here, Section A, $3,358.
There's got to be
in this other section,
big names,
which looks like. Yeah, this is fucking crazy.
What you know what else?
Looks like the other ones are mostly about $800,
right?
For some of the other ones that are still close enough that you're going to see every damn thing.
Yeah,
I don't know where the extra $9,000 of value is from being in row 4 versus row 1,
right?
Or even row 3, section B is $860. I'm 2 rows behind these overpriced fuckers watching the same show.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
And now that I know this, and now that the listeners know this, so when you guys are watching this PLE, you know, just think about the people who are, like, paying this kind of money. It's like, are you serious? Like, this is the guy that paid, like, that much money. And I also wonder if there's, like, high-end people that are sitting nearby that, like, maybe, like, a celebrity or something that pays for those outrageous tickets. Or, like, I don't know, somebody in the company.
No, maybe, although I doubt it, because usually most of the celebrities are usually near the announce tables, because that's usually where some of the most expensive seats are. Because they don't want to be opposite of the hard cam where they'll be on camera the whole night. So they're usually, most celebrities are either on the hard cam side or the announce table side.
Yeah.
Where they're off camera, but close enough that they can be shown or interacted with if need be. But they're rarely ever on the hard cam side where you could see them all night.
Right. That's freaking
Meanwhile,
crazy.
freaking Worlds Collide, the most expensive ticket I see here is, what, $600? Yeah. Far more, quote unquote, reasonable, I guess.
Again, we got these ticket prices through the roof, right? Through the fucking roof. Merch prices through the roof. I'm drinking out of a $15 plastic cup I got at WrestleMania. But yet, you know, all
now,
the
admittedly,
sponsorship.
though, $600 for Worlds Collide is high, but to me, it's not so unreasonably high. Because we're talking about, like, row 3. For $600 for a premium event like this, I think that's reasonable. Expensive, yes, but not obnoxious with what today's market kind of is.
Right.
That's actually kind of a deal if you compare it to some of them. Like, I wouldn't, like, if I was attending a WWE PLE and I wanted to sit that close, I would expect something in the $600 to $1,000 range for a seat. I think that's reasonable. There's one ticket here that's like $1,200, which is, looks like this is probably hard cam, the opposite of hard cam side, row 3. So those will probably be like premium seats, but it's only 2 of them, which is weird though, because 2 of them are $1,200, and yet 3 seats over in the same row is $500, $588. The fuck am I paying for them $1,200 tickets for? So I can be in the middle of the hard cam side? No. I'll save $700 and sit 3 seats over.
Yeah, right. That's fucking funny. Oh my gosh.
This ticket pricing don't make no damn sense. But yeah, Worlds Collide is surprisingly affordable. Like, good seats going for like $300, $400. Shit, I'd pay that.
Yeah, I'd pay that too. Yeah, especially
I'd pay
with
that
how,
and not
how
even
good
be
NXT
upset.
has been getting. I feel like I would get my money's worth out of an NXT show now. So, all right, man. Well, that's all I got. Do you want to plug anything else besides expensive ass ticket prices?
Nah, that's it. Just as always, Instagram.com/PCW podcast.
Yeah, all right, man. That's all I got. You know who I'm gonna have? I'm gonna have Booker T play us out one more time. Just for the fact of it's Booker T. Here we go.
Here we go, baby. One more time.
You are the world's dumbest son of a bitch.
The fact that day in and day out for almost 6 years I have proved to everybody in the world that I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even at commentary. Nobody can touch me.
You are not ready for Oscar!
Because the Street Profits are up and we want the smoke.
You're next!
Talk about your songs, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. New day!
Cream will rise to the top. Oh yeah, Macho Madness here.
Welcome to the Kevin Owens Show. Lately, he just hasn't been very oozy.
Because I'm the Miz, and I'm awesome!
Those rotten bastards!
Bye-bye, bitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to this little promo. I have to give one. You know what it's going to be about. Yeah, just sit here and listen. You made it this far into the show. What we're going to talk about is something very important. It's social media. Why aren't you part of the Twitter page, the Instagram page, our Facebook page? Join, share. And you know what? You get in there, we'll send you a link to the Discord. What's the Discord? It's where you can talk to us all day about wrestling. Not just that. How about you go to our website, podcastchampionshipwrestling1podium.com, where you can leave a review. Not just a review. You can write into the show. You got a question? We'll answer it. But it doesn't stop there. Oh, no, it doesn't. We offer so much more. Do you want to be on the show? Do you want to shoot the shit with Dre, Doyle, and myself? Be a guest. I'll give you your own theme music. Yes, I will. But it doesn't stop there, guys. You gotta go to ProWrestlingTees.com and buy a PCW shirt. Oh, we don't have one. We don't have two. By God, we don't have three. But we do have four. 4 new t-shirts on ProWrestlingTees.com. So what the hell are you doing? You made it this far. Are you a fan or what? Are you a fucking mark? Tell him.
You fucking mark!
Time's running out.